poverty increase even more so.
Why move away though? Why move away? Because if you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You say you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
Yeah.
Let's start off by this. Roland, how did you not bury Patrick with the fact that he's of Persian descent and he's Iranian descent? Let me short story, expedite the story. If y'all don't know the history of Mossadegh and Project Ajax, Operation Ajax, better yet, and why the Iranian Revolution happened in 1979.
If you want to understand the past 70 years of often disastrous U.S. foreign policy and military intervention, look to the 1953 CIA and MI6-backed coup in Iran that removed democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh and brought back to power the Shah, an authoritarian dictator friendly to U.S. and British interests. The British and Americans didn't anticipate that their interference would ultimately set the stage for an Islamic revolution led by the Ayatollah Khomeini, which began the repressive theocracy that rules Iran to this day.
So the 1979 Iranian Revolution and its aftermath are often seen by detractors as the first step in the creation of an isolated, fundamentalist state that supports terrorism, and you might be surprised to hear me say that there is some truth to that interpretation.
The Iranian Revolution in general, and y'all don't really understand why Patrick's here in the first place, right? What his family ran from in the first place.
The reason that Mr. Z astutely highlights the fact that Roland Martin should have attacked where Patrick Beverly is from is because there was a war, revolution that was fought, and before the revolution there was a coup with U.S. involvement, which means that Patrick David and his family and other people from his country were allowed into the United States and other countries based on government policy. See, Patrick wants to minimize government involvement in government policies and laws and wants to highlight individualism and capitalism. And in this case, he benefited from government involvement and he uplifts America even though they was involved in a coup that kind of spurred the revolution in 1979 that you just saw.
And the fact that Patrick and many Persians in the U.S. or in the U.S., because they were running from the Ayatollah in Iran, turn around and are conservative Republicans and then attempt to lecture down to black people with all this fake ass, well, my people came here with the dollar, or I didn't have no money, and we didn't have anything, and we made it, and why can't y'all do that, and why shouldn't y'all vote Democrat, and y'all vote Democrat, and 80-something, 90%, and Bro, the fact that you ran from Iran is the exact reason why black people are where they are here in America. Black people are not running from America. You ran from Iran.
Also, Patrick David is arguing with Roland Martin about why doesn't he and other black people stay in bad neighborhoods and fix it up and change it for the better. Well, you just saw that Patrick David and his family and other people left their country, and Patrick actually became a millionaire. And he did not go back and fix the country that was broken, that forced him and his family and other people to leave. So look at the hypocrisy in Patrick David, where he wants to condemn black people for claiming that they're victims and leaving the hood and not going back, and using government policies to benefit them, woe them. But he does not do the same thing when he and his family and other people left their country. And he has yet to go back. It does not plan to go back. If you listen to Patrick, he does not plan to go back. He thinks America is so great, but he's not going back to fix the problems that caused him and his people to leave. But he wants black people to fix America. The hypocrisy.
Called Education Matters, folks who are in the education space, school choice. I got HBCU Connect, so I do all of that.
So
But one second.
But you know why I said that? Let me tell you why I said that. Because you said, I'm not the one that says, look at me, I got out, so can you. That's what you said.
You see that Patrick wants to highlight something that he connects with. He thinks that Roland is saying, oh, I made it out, so black people, you can make it out too. That's why he wants to highlight that, because he agrees in that philosophy of rugged individualism, or the bootstrap, where people like to think you can lift yourselves up by your bootstraps, your own bootstraps, to get yourself over the obstacle or over the hump so that you can achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. That's what we call bootstrapping, pulling your own self up over the obstacle or fence to get to your goal. But that's not what Roland was saying, and he clearly articulates this. Now, why would I want to talk about this? Because, and why would Patrick want to be okay with this philosophy of bootstrapping and rugged individualism? Well, Patrick and others would want to do this because it connects with the entrepreneurial spirit that him and other people have, so that they can shame and look down upon other people who get government assistance. But he's not revealing the fact that government assistance is not just going to working class and poor people. The majority of government assistance goes to the middle class, the upper middle class, and the upper class in the forms of subsidies, tax credits. Those are government assistance programs that are not used verbally or writtenly as government assistance, but they are no doubt government assistance, and he thinks that people like me and you don't understand that. So he wants to highlight things that are not government assistance. But I want to highlight something else that most people don't talk about. All U.S. money is government tender. Therefore, all money is government assistance, because you cannot have that value of that money without the constant wars that enabled America to have the world reserve currency. If you don't know, though, that America has the world reserve currency, it helps us out a lot. And countries around the world have to convert their currency to U.S. currency to engage in many of the international trades that they want to engage in. That's why the big thing with Brazil and China teaming up to not use the U.S. dollar when they engage in international trade was such a big deal. I'm a fact check it to make sure I got the right two countries involved. But nonetheless, it is a fact that the U.S. has the world reserve currency, which helps us out because other central banks around the world have to hold U.S. dollars in their reserve. But anyway, back to my point is that Patrick and others that believe in neoliberalism, where they want to commodify everything and say everything should be a part of the so-called free market, and they want to look down upon those that get government assistance. That's why they're only highlighting the government assistance programs that most people look down upon and will shame others for engaging in, hiding the fact that most upper class people, well, really all people, even Martin Luther King highlights this in many of his documents and speeches, that they will not play for you. But Dr. King and others highlight the fact that we all are on welfare government assistance. And I would just quickly say that by the fact that we all are dependent on government tender. The US dollar is a government creation. So we can't get around that fact. So we should stop shaming. We just need to highlight the truth of these matters. And the truth is that Roland Martin is highlighting the hypocrisy in Patrick. And the hypocrisy is that he was saved by a government. He relies on the government for many of his riches. The main fact that he is here is because the government allowed him to be here. And the mere fact that he has been able to amass millions of dollars that are worth that million is because of the U.S. government. It's not because he has this magical skill. Even he says in many of his videos that there's nothing special about him. which is true. And he couldn't have amassed those millions without government policies, government regulations, and government tender, i.e. money. So let's not play these games. People are not stupid. Roland Martin is clearly smart, and so is Mr. Z for highlighting all of this hypocrisy in this Patrick Bet David stuff.
There's always, you can always have that singular individual or this person or that person or this family. That's micro. What I'm talking about is macro issues. And what I'm saying is, when I look at communities, that's not micro, that's macro. Even within the African American community, when you dealt with Jim Crow, you couldn't live anywhere else. You literally could not live anywhere else. Bottom line is, if you were black and had money, and then you were black and broke, you were literally living in the same neighborhood. After Jim Crow ends with integration, what then happened? Those African Americans who were middle class, upper middle class, began to move away. What then began to happen was you had areas where,
to highlight the fact that people like Patrick Bet David and other wealthy people rely on the government, to highlight that for those type of people like him to highlight that, would highlight the hypocrisy. And it would highlight the fact that black people are not asking for a handout when they advocate for reparation or a redistribution of the wealth. That's why they want people like Patrick will not highlight that, because they know that the game of cards that is holding up their wealth will fall down, and that we could go back. More support would be given to people who say we should tax the extreme rich at a 90% rate like we did in the past. That is not anything bad. That is something that is actually good. If you go back in our history and look at the American dream, we actually look down upon those people who had extreme wealth, like the Carnegies and the Rockefellers of the day. It wasn't always a thing that we uplifted and celebrated the extreme rich, because the extreme rich create extreme poverty, and that's something we need to get rid of, because all people need to have the ability to live a functional, fulfilling life.
poverty increase even more so.
Why move away though? Why move away?
Because
If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
Oh, wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created?
But
So everybody else get we can't move.
But if you act like you care about the community,
Oh,
how much
guess what?
you stay
But no,
there?
but hold on, no, but I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in black neighborhoods,
Yeah.
they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to
Change it. Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. I am. But
Okay, hold on. Here's a-
Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you even know today? We've done the stories in Florida when somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black. You know that that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God.
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
Okay.
on how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
Okay, why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and go?
how many times has that happened? I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see, you're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
So progress,
So what's your
I'm trying to end that.
Yes.
And somebody comes into your home and they see your photos
Right.
and they see your family, and then they go back and they go, 350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
Tell
one
that
second,
story
one
to get people to
No,
convince
no,
that
no,
that's
no.
happening.
It's actually,
Out of 1,000 appraisals, out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen?
you want to pull that up? for that.
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God.
And wait 1 second. When the woman, a black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. So one second, because I'm gonna show you how it impacts generationally.
There we go.
So when you follow me here, because this is housing in America. When you then get that lower appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in unity world that ain't the real America.
Brother, you have the wrong guy.
Get rid of that stuff.
You have the wrong guy here. You have the
I'm trying to get rid of it.
Okay, good for you. I am as well, but you have the wrong guy here. And here's what I mean by that. So when you ask the question, what do you do if they praise your house $350,000 less, right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland. Oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim.
Roland actually did, as much as we have issues with Roland Martin, he did a pretty good job. And what it kept on coming back to for Patrick is motivational talk, anti-victimhood talk. A lot of this is like, and you heard some of this from Rush Limbaugh when he spoke to the Breakfast Club years and years ago before he passed away, right? Which is like, y'all over there with the Democrats, so y'all get what y'all get, right? So let me start off by saying this because Mr. Z's rambling a little bit. And by the way, for those of you that don't know who I'm saying, I'm speaking about Roland Martin, right? When Roland is setting it out, telling him about housing discrimination, telling him about the young black kids being expelled for the same type of infractions as the white kids, breaking it down for him perfectly. He doesn't want to hear it because that flies in the face of the do for self talk.